So what we do is that the three things. Number one, just a quick intro, and then followed by the how the Buddha relics, they're being discovered, excavated, and so forth. So this part, I request Sanjayji, because last time when I was, it has been the few times that we have been interacting, and then I've been learning a lot. In fact, Sanjayji has his personal flair and interest in all these excavations. So he knows where all the excavation of the Buddha relics, for example, Buddha relics here, happened, and so forth. So that part I will leave on the Sanjayji to explain it. It's very interesting. His journey of personal passion to know about the facts of the relics, how they traveled, and so forth. Okay, so basically, and then later on we'll do the formal explanation about the relics, and then after instruction, then we will take 3 circumambulation around the relics. Okay, so the first part, intro, is the setting proper motivation. So why we are all together here is that the Nalanda Master's Course, so that is the main course, and Nalanda Diploma course, which is like the precursor to, or like the stepping stone to Nalanda Master's Course. And we see that for myself and for all of us, the greatest meaning is eventually unfold the wealth of enlightenment. So this key to unfold the wealth of enlightenment is the very rich culture of the Nalanda philosophy, Nalanda psychology, and the logic it developed in is there somewhere to sit? Fine. Rebecca, you're fine? Are you sure? You can sit there. Okay. So this is the real treasure, and the Nalanda masters, it has been like 3 years. So 3 years you're able to sustain means that there is some stability coming to mind pertaining to the preciousness, awareness of the preciousness of the Nalanda traditions. So this is something so precious. And then to really commemorate, to celebrate that we are unfolding a very important means towards Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings, which is so precious. We come here, and I often say that in Delhi, the place which is of the greatest meaning, the purpose, is the National Museum, the Buddha relics. So today we are here, and each one of us, we are very fortunate, particularly coming together in this particular group. This group so precious. So let us not miss to visualize your true parents with you, your family members, including children, and everyone with you are one. And then let us visualize the Buddha Shakyamuni, whose relics we are so fortunate that we are having the opportunity to receive blessings today. So there's the living Buddha there, and more detailed explanation I'll give later. Just do this visualization for a few seconds. And all sentient beings living on a side. And from what we studied from the Nalanda Master's Course, the Bodhisattva Shantideva's text, the fact that we are able to have the opportunity to receive blessings from the Buddha Shakyamuni's relics, the merit that we accumulate, merit accumulation pertaining to the Buddha relics, and the same amount of respect that we caught to the living Buddha Shakyamuni, the merit is going to be identical, same. So this is what the Buddha himself very clearly proclaimed. And the more details I'll explain a little later. Okay, so this should be the basic thought, and let us pray that this Nalanda Master studies, whatever we are doing now, and in the diploma course, we're also completing now. Today is going to be the last day for diploma before you switch to Nalanda Master's course. So let us pray that each one of us, we are able to, one, continue this journey of study, reflection, meditation towards enlightenment, number one. Number two, to spread this incredible light of the wisdom and compassion towards as many beings as possible, directly or indirectly. For example, let's say that when you meet with anybody, even somebody who has no exposure to any philosophy and so forth, you encourage the person to start taking interest in education. Start taking interest in education, where we come to realize that we are all interconnected. So that, in a way, you are connecting the person towards the Nalanda's tradition of the understanding of the interdependency, the concept of dependent origination. You don't have to mention that this is what the Nalanda system, this is a reality. It's a piece of reality which was discovered by the Buddha Shakyamuni and later greatly and in detail explained by the Nalanda masters. So that way, this is how we benefit the beings. Okay, so before I go any further in more detail, I'd like to request Sanjayji to explain a little bit about the relics and how they are discovered and so forth.
So when the Buddha was about to pass away, he was asked what should be done with his body, and he gave instructions about his funeral. Then he was asked what should be done with the relics after the funeral, and he said, put them in earthen mounds so people can pay respect, be inspired, better their karma and have insight. After the funeral, the surrounding 8 kingdoms each wanted a portion. So the relics, the remains of the body, were distributed into 8 parts. Each one took a part, put it in the capital city and made a stupa over that. These were the original 8 stupas in northern India. This was in 544 BC. Some 200 years later, Ashoka the Great, who converted to Buddhism, came, and he felt this was confined, the relics were confined in a very small area of his kingdom. It should be vastly accessible. So he opens up these 8 stupas, or some of them, and distributes the relics into many, many stupas, hundreds perhaps. These relics come from a place near the Nepal border, UP-Nepal border, called Piprawaha, where apparently the original undisturbed stupa remained. Ashoka perhaps did not open that for some reason. In about 1870 or so, there was a famine. The British resident there wanted to employ people, give them labor, and there was this earthen mound with a jungle over it. So he had the jungle cleared and generally tried to clear the mound. So they dug about 18 feet deep, they came across the stupa, and they came across an urn of relics on which was inscribed that they were the body remains of the Buddha, and which were then taken out of India for some reason, and later on a part of it went to Thailand, where they enshrined in various temples. In about 1970, the Archaeological Survey, ASI, did another excavation, and below that found still more remains. So apparently the upper ones were from Ashoka's time, and these particular ones are from Buddha's own time. And there were 5 urns which came. The main urn containing the relics has the inscription that this is the bodily remain of Buddha Bhagavata. Thank you.
Thank you, Sanjayji. Okay, so basically the proceedings. Now what we do is that first I'm going to give a quick thing about the relics. This is a good idea. So basically the Buddha's biography to be understood in 2 ways. One, the historical biography, and the other one is a unique biography. Unique biography meaning inclusion of the understanding, deeper psychology, according to the minor texts, and then more sophisticatedly the tantric texts. Okay, because this is more from the Nalanda Masters and the Nalanda Diploma course, I will be happy to go into the tantric part as well, a little bit, not too in detail. Idea is that the Buddha relics, as Sanjayji very clearly indicated, the remains of the Buddha's body. So the historical account, if you read the historical account, we get a feeling that Buddha is like somebody who is very special, but how the ordinary people will consider as he also has the sickness, aging, death, and so forth. This is the historical account, and then the other one is the more people may call it as the mystical account. It's not actually mystical. Mystical meaning there's something which we cannot really explain yet happening. This is not the case. There is whole explanation how that is happening. That the Buddha, where according to the historical account, where according to the historical account, the Buddha has all these remains like this, and then to see the Buddha relics. Some people may move into tears out of sadness. Okay, so this is according to the historical account. Now, according to the Mahayana, or according to unique biography, is that what the Buddha displayed as having taken birth as a prince, and then then going to asceticism, then eventually becoming enlightened, and then once in a while Buddha going for rambling, going for walks with Ananda, and then the Buddha feeling very thirsty, and Buddha asking Ananda, can you fetch me some water? Ananda go to see water. He could not get water, so therefore very dirty pond. From there the Ananda fetched some the water with no choice. So the Buddha drank that, and then no food available everywhere. The place is going through drought, and again Ananda was looking for food, and then Ananda met a merchant. Ananda asked for some food, and the merchant said, "I'm very sorry, I don't have anything to offer him. But I have only the food meant for the animals, the horses. If you accept it," then he said, "Okay, yes." So then this food offered to the Buddha. Then the Buddha consuming the food meant for the fodder. The fodder is meant for the horses and so forth. And then Ananda crying. So how the depiction of this biography clearly tells us that Ananda was seeing the Buddha in the light of the ordinary being, but very wise, intelligent, although referred to as enlightened or Buddha, Tathagata, but then in reality, not being able to see divinity. So then the Buddha did indicate that this is unlike it's not like the way you see the world. In fact, for Buddha, it doesn't matter. Whatever comes in contact with the Buddha's the mouth, everything becomes elixir. So the Buddha took out one grain. If you don't believe, the Buddha said, if you don't believe, just take this. I will take this out one grain. You eat it. Then Ananda took it, and Ananda realized that this is something which he never experienced before, although he was a prince in the palace. This one account. Then another account was the Vimalakirti, Bodhisattva Vimalakirti. One point, the Ananda was going to look for some medicines for the Buddha in the town, and the Vimalakirti, from distance, he saw Ananda and shouted at him, "Ananda, Venerable Ananda, what are you doing here?" And the Bodhisattva Vimalkirti, you should know that when he appeared, he came out as the little eccentric in nature. Eccentric in nature, extremely bright, but little eccentric in nature, very forthright and daring to just challenge anybody, including Bodhisattva. He is a great Bodhisattva. So he said that, Venerable Ananda, how come that you are here on an odd time? Ananda was the boss. Everybody respected Ananda so much, and there's one person who dared to ask him a question, how dare that you are on an odd time? And then Venerable Ananda said, I came here to look for medicines for Tathagata. Then, so here, this anecdote is so important for us to know the deeper biography of Buddha, not just historical account. So then the Vimalkirti responded, saying that you are underestimating our Tathagata. You are underestimating Tathagata. Our Tathagata, he never gets ill. And you are seeing Tathagata as an ordinary person who gets ill or who is hungry, thirsty. This is your misperception. Go back to your place. Don't underestimate Tathagata and don't bring disgrace to Tathagata, saying that Tathagata is so weak. He can become, he can feel hunger, he can feel thirsty, he can, become sick. No, this is how you are undermining our Tathagata. Go back to your place. This is what the Bodhisattva, the Vimalkirti, he said. From this you can take out the unique biography of the Buddha, that he is not like us. Not like us. In fact, now the real unique part is that Buddha himself made it very clear that philosophically speaking, what we have to know is that finally that our mind, it has a tremendous power. It has a tremendous power to the extent that it can manifest in the form of physical forms. Not only manifest in physical form, it can manifest in the innumerable, infinite physical forms. So this is a power of a mind. But when this mind is obscured by the mental defilements, then it is like the gold when mixed with the soil. It cannot display the qualities of this gold, the glow. So when it's a gold, by the very definition, it glows. How do you know that? Removing the soil, then the gold starts to glow. You don't bring the glow from outside. So, likewise, each one of us, when we become Buddhas, our mind glows in the manifestations of innumerable, infinite physical forms. So, in other words, what I'm saying is that the Buddha's physical form is not made of the blood, then bones, flesh, and fats, and so forth. It is simply the radiance of the Buddha's own omniscient mind. This is the Buddha's physical form. This is a unique biography. So now with this, then the point is that as our mind becomes very pure, particularly the mind, the very gross form of the mind and the subtle form of the mind. The gross form now, when you think, okay, I should not be deviated, I should be more focused, concentrated. So this is where we have some control over the gross mind. But we don't have the control over the subtle mind. Meaning, when we dream, we don't have any control. What dream comes to you, we have to behave accordingly. So that we have no control. So as the mind becomes subtler, we have no control. As the mind becomes subtler, if we practice, as the mind becomes subtler, still the mind is in our hands, then the mind becomes more and more independent of the physical gross body. As it becomes independent from the physical gross body, then it can manifest in the form of the physical form. The mind itself, the radiance, will manifest in the form of the physical form. So then it is like the moon up there, and the reflections of the moon in the water bodies. Even though there's one moon up there, but if there are like hundreds, millions of water bodies there, millions of reflections will be formed. There's no effort required. So, but in some local place, say if the water dries up, the water body dries up, then the reflection disappears. So, this water body is symbolic metaphor for our virtuous karmas. When a virtuous karma, when they exhaust, when we come to degenerate stage, then the water of the karma disappears, positive karma disappears, then the reflection automatically disappears. So this reflection is the manifestation of the Buddha. So the Buddha appeared as passing away. So 2500 years ago, then the Buddha assuming into Mahaparinirvana. In actuality, it's just a reflection, disappeared because the water is gone. Not because the moon is gone. The moon is still there. So the Buddha never dies. In other words, Buddha never dies. But what about the relics? So for that, number one, Buddha never dies. And the Buddha's body, speech, and the mind, these three are of the same entity, different isolates. So this only the Master's diploma course will understand. You're getting it? The Buddha's body, speech, and mind, these three are same entity, different isolates. Right? So whereas for us, body, speech, and mind, let's say body, speech, mind, they are different entities and different isolates. So when your body, speech, and mind, they become the same entity, this is known as the unification, the unison of the three Vajras. Vajra of the body, body, speech, and the Vajra of the mind. At that point, the highest state of that experience is known as enlightenment. If that is the case, then your body, your mind manifests in the form of speech, in the form of the body. Then what about relics? Okay, here comes the role of the Buddha's compassion. Buddha so compassionately addressed the disciples then that for the benefit of the future beings who are not going to have the merit to meet me directly, for them still to accumulate merit, I will leave relics. This is what the Buddha very clearly indicated. And this is not something unique to the Buddha Shakyamuni. This is with all Buddhas. All Buddhas, ideally speaking, because Buddha's body is not made of the flesh, bones, and so forth, there is nothing to be left as a relics. But by choice, Buddha deliberately manifests in the form of the relics, the way Sanjay explained, that the funeral, then the cremation, and the relics. The ordinary people could see as relics there, then dissuaded. And the Buddha very clearly indicated that these relics, if the future the beings, if they pray, and if they seek inspiration, blessings in the form of compassion, wisdom of emptiness, and so forth, then these beings will accumulate same amount of merit, the way somebody is going to accumulate the merit, venerating, seeking inspiration, and so forth from a living Buddha. Okay, this is one part. So now, very quickly, from the Tantra point of view, it is that the mind, the subtle expression of the mind, is known as the subjective clear light. So this subjective clear light, if you're able to manifest it properly with the proper training, the body and the mind, so it is seen that these two, the body and mind, these two are on the gross level, these two are two distinct entities. On the subtle level, even within us, on the subtle level, the mind and the body, these two are of the same entity, different body, different isolates. So what we have, the body, this is not the body that I'm talking about. We're talking about the subtle energy that we have. So now what happens is that in the practice of Tantra, you practice in such a way, of course, we have to make a distinction between the popular Tantra versus the real Tantra. So popular Tantra is different. It doesn't mean that people who are into the popular Tantra, it's questionable whether they really know what Tantra is. So the real Tantra is activating the subtle mind and activating the subtle energy. Subtle mind and subtle energy, these two are the same entity. In the case of everyone, not only the Buddhas, even us. Now in us, what happens is that the subtle one does not manifest. We cannot utilize the subtle one because we are so engrossed in the gross ones. The moment we go into the anger, attachment, jealousy, and so forth, the gross one is activated. When the gross one is activated, the subtle one becomes dominant. When that becomes dominant, then it is like the gold mixed with the soil. The gold does not really function, although it is there. So likewise, for us, then with the practice, what happens is that First, we have to, of course, all the proper training should go, removing the gross ones, then the middle ones, then we reach the subtle one. We reach the subtle one, then the subtle mind is activated, subtle energy is activated. These two are the two sides of the same coin. One entity, different isolates. So there, the most refined version of the subtle mind is known as the meaning clear light. Not just the subject clear light, meaning clear. This is a technical term, meaning clear light. And the most refined version of the body, the subtle energy, is known as the illusory body or rainbow body, illusory body. So these two are the two sides of the same coin. These two are like the two isolates with the same entity. So this one, with a further refining of this one, then what happens? So this meaning clear light, this is where the subjective clear light, non-dualistically experiencing emptiness. Okay, there are two things. One is subjective clear light, that has to be activated. Then it should be focused on emptiness. Then number two, it should be non-dual. So that requires a tremendous training, very refined training. Okay, one. And then meanwhile, the energy, subtle energy, activating subtle energy. So these two things can be practiced separately as well as together. So then when this happens, then the meaning clear light is activated. Then from this, of course, separately we have to practice this subtle energy also. So with this, then what happens is that the subtle energy can be utilized. At the moment, subtle energy is within us, but it is not utilized, dominant. So that becomes utilized. When that becomes utilized, it becomes like a laser beam. Laser beam, the light that we have here, this cannot burn the papers. When this these lights that we have in this hall is channelized, it becomes channelized to a very refined point. It can become it has the power, like it is become like a laser beam to burn things, to cut things. It becomes so powerful. So this is the subtle energy that's going to be activated, and this will manifest in the form of the illusory body or the rainbow body, and the mind, the most refined mind, will become the meaning clear light. So these two will come hand in hand, and the most refined version is known as enlightened. So Buddhahood. So at that point, it is just the body and the mind. These two come into unison. Unison meaning that it's the same entity, both activating. Okay. From this, we come to know that if this is what is meant by enlightenment, then it has nothing to do with the gross body. It's a subtle body and subtle mind. So therefore, it says that the Buddhas, they don't really have the bones, flesh, and so forth. But what we see now here is according to the common biography, historical biography, because majority of the people, we don't have the capacity to understand such a sophisticated psychology. So for them, the historical biography works, and accordingly the Buddha taught that I will leave the relics for the future generation to accumulate merit and so forth. Okay, so with this what we do is that knowing a bit about the benefit of the Buddha relics, let us see the Buddha relics here as a living Buddha Shakyamuni, living Buddha Shakyamuni. And then we make 3 prostrations. Number 1, as we make prostrations, visualize that all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas are there in front of us, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and then all the lineage gurus, like Geshe Lobsang Gyaltsen Rinpoche, and then Geshe Pantsapa Rinpoche, Geshe Wangje Rinpoche, Geshe Ishtakya Rinpoche, Geshe Tamje Rinpoche, and so forth. We just visualize all of them. And then your family members, all sentient beings, making prostrations towards them. This is one thing that we're going to do. After this, then better would be after this. Then we will then go around, and make sure that we have a good vision of the Buddha relics there in the glass. And if you want to see it more clearly, so that is behind there is a picture, a photograph there, which magnifies, shows it in the magnified form. Look at it, and then the real Buddha relics is in the glass. So this you look at it very clearly. Okay, And then we take like 3 rounds. After that, again we come down, sit down. Then we'll do a little bit of the prayers, which I'm going to explain to you. And then we will do the dedication. Yeah. Okay, let us make 2 prostrations together. Okay, what we do is that we read from now we read from page 3 down to page 7, and then the page 14, as always, page 14 through to page 15. Then we'll read in Yedharma. Yedharma, of course, it is there, and then we'll do the in praise of dependent origination. In praise of dependent origination. Finally, this text is a praise to the Buddha Shakyamuni for having appeared in this world to really benefit the beings by means of removing the cause of the suffering, which is ignorance, and by teaching the concept of dependent origination. So this is the best of the praises. Best of all the praises. So this is what we're going to recite. And again, the reminder that is to recite. Don't just take it as okay, coming together, then reciting, and seriously visualize all the Bodhisattvas, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness, the limit there in front of us, and visualize all the family members and all sentient beings with you, not just us here. And then also I like to make a personal request that the very, 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 very dear Rimala, Rimala, she worked so hard for the Nalanda Master's course, diploma course, along with her whole team, and then she basically really supported Rimala all the way to make the success of this program, and all the manuscripts coming out, and now at the moment she's going through a severe health issues, pains and so forth. Let us pray that and of course she is young. It's not that it is like no option. She's very young. She will recover. So let us pray that she recovers soon, and that's very important. And likewise, all who are involved with Nalanda Master's course, Nalanda Diploma course, no doubt, they're going through there are some who go through difficulties. Let's pray for them as well. And then include everyone, all sentient beings. Finally, there's no difference between somebody doing Nalanda Master's Diploma course or somebody who's not doing it. There's no difference. We're all sentient beings, and that we all have to help each other. Okay, so then the dedication is a separate part where I'm not going to detail. There's the pray. Okay, maybe dedication part I'll again remind, that would be good. So initially we'll do this prayer, and then followed by the the dependent original mantra, the dependent origination, the impressed dependent origination. So when we recite that, see how much we can reflect on the meanings. That's very important. Okay. Yes, I will face it down. You face up. Okay. So the page 3. Page 3. Okay, first let's do just 2 minutes of the reflections. Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas, and particularly the great Nalanda Masters, whose text which we are studying from which we reap the maximum benefit, and also visualize your two parents, your family members, including children, and all sentient beings living on the side. Okay, with this in mind, and you are leading this, and all sentient beings are joining you. Page 3. Enthused by great compassion, you are taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you are taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. Enthused by great compassion, you taught the Immaculate Dharma to dispel all perverted views. To you, the Buddha Gautama, I pay homage. In dependent origination, there is no ceasing, no arising, no annihilation, no coming, no going, and no separateness. I prostrate to the consummate Buddha, the supreme among all teachers, the one who taught this peace, which is free of elaborations. I prostrate to the mothers of the hearers, the Bodhisattvas and the Buddhas, who through the knowledge of all these hearers seek pacification, complete peace, who the knowledge of past forces souls help them migrators to achieve the aims of the world, and who through the possession of omniscience have subdued us expanded varieties of teachings. The one who has transformed into the reliable guide, motivated by altruism to benefit sentient beings. The teacher, Sugatan, protector, to you are my prostrations. One who has eliminated the web of conceptualizations and is endowed with the divine bodies of the vast and the profound, who eternally shines forth the forever noble light rays. To you, the Buddha, I make prostrations. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. I go for refuge until I'm enlightened to the Buddha, the Dharma, and the Sangha. By my accumulations for the practice of giving and so forth, may I become a Buddha to benefit all sentient beings. Inspired by wisdom and compassion, today in the Buddha's presence, I generate the mind of full awakening for the benefit of all sentient beings. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha. Om Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhavam Hetum Tesham Tathagato Yavatat Tesham Chayo Nirodha Evam Vati Mahashamanaye Swaha. All phenomena arise from causes. The causes are taught by the Tathagata. The cessation of the causes as well is taught by the great seer. profound, peaceful, elaboration-free, clear light, and non-compulsive. Such is the nectar-like dharma I have discovered. Finding no one to fathom this teaching, in silence I'll return to the words. Beyond utterance, thought and expression is the professional wisdom, which is unborn, unceased, and has the nature of space, is the object of apprehension of self-realized wisdom. To you, the mother of the Buddhas of the three times of the obeisance. The Guru is the Buddha, the Guru is the Dharma, likewise the Guru is the Sangha. The Guru is the source of all. I go for refuge to the Guru. By the sound out of the vibrant drum of Dharma, please liberate all beings of miseries. I beseech you to kindly remain in the teachings until the end of the expansive beings of aeons. The Buddha does not watch the negativities of beings, nor does he remove their miseries by his hands. His spiritual realizations that beings are liberated. With folded hands, I beseech the Buddhas of all directions, out of Dharma for all people in ministries. If you are attached to this life, you are not a spiritual practitioner. If you are attached to samsara, you have no renunciation. If you are attached to your own self-interest, you have no bodhichitta. If there is grasping, you do not have the view. Okay, now in praise to Buddha Shakyamuni, page 14. Page 14. To the founder, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the one gone beyond, the full destroyer, completely perfected, fully awakened being, perfect in knowledge and in good conduct, Sugata, Lord of the world, supreme guide of human beings to be tamed, teacher of gods and human beings, you, the completely and fully awakened one, the endowed transcendent destroyer, the subduer from the Shakya clan, I prostrate, make offerings and go for refuge. When, O Supreme amongst humans, you are born on this earth, you pace out 7 strides, then said, I am supreme in this world. To you who are wise then I prostrate. With pure bodies, form supremely pure, wisdom ocean like a golden mountain, fame that places in the 3 worlds, win of the best, Lord to you I prostrate. With the supreme science, face like a spotless moon, color like gold to you I prostrate. Just be like you, the 3 worlds are known, incompatible wise one, to you I prostrate. The Savior having great compassion, the Founder having all understanding, the field of merit with the qualities like a vast ocean, to you the Tathagata I prostrate. The purity that frees one from attachment, the virtue that frees one from the lower realms, one part, the sublime pure reality, pacifies our prostrate. Those who are liberated and also show the power to liberation. The holy feel fortified with pure realizations, who are devoted to the moral precepts. To you the Sangha I prostrate. Do not commit any non-virtuous actions. Perform only perfect virtuous actions. Subdue mind thoroughly. This is the teaching of the Buddha. A star, a vision aberration, a flame of lamp, an illusion, a drop of dew or a bubble, a dream, a flash of lightning, a cloud. See conditioned things as such. Through these may sentient beings attain the rank of all-seeing, subdue the 4 falls, and be delivered from samsara's ocean, perturbed by the ways of aging, sickness, and death. Okay, before we read the in praise of dependent origination, we will do a quick bodhichitta meditation and emptiness meditation. Okay, for that matter, we'll just do a quick 21 cycles of breathing meditation. Okay, so whatever meditation that you are exposed to, you can do that. Otherwise, we'll do the quick 21 cycles of breathing meditation, which is going to be like 2 minutes. Okay, ready? Which is all the Buddhas Bodhisattvas are with you. They are blessing us, particularly Buddha Shakyamuni, His Holiness the Dalai Lama, and you are surrounded by all the dear sentient beings, including your family members, your parents, your children, and everyone, all sentient beings with you, and you are leading this. Okay, 21 times. thank you. Next we'll do so we don't want to keep too long here, maybe visitors there. So we'll do the 4 seals. 4 seals. We'll recite them slowly. We'll recite very slowly. Meanwhile, it should be like a reflective the recitation. We'll recite very slowly the 4 seals and try your best to reflect on or meditate on the 4 seals as we recite them together 3 times. Meanwhile, again, be mindful, all the Buddhas, Bodhisattvas, they're watching us, and that all sentient beings, they are joining us, and you are leading this. Okay, together. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are suffering nature. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is nirvana. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is nirvana. All composite things are impermanent. All contaminated things are of suffering nature. Everything is of the nature of emptiness and selflessness. Transcending sorrow is nirvana. Okay, now we will generate a very strong commitment of bodhichitta. And for that matter, we will say 3 lines. First, I will say this commitment, and then we'll all say this 3 times together. And try to say this wholehearted. It's so auspicious that the Buddha Shakyamuni is here, and His Holiness is here, and all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas with us. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. May I become Buddha for the benefit of all my dear mother sentient beings. Just abide in this very courageous mind of bodhicitta. This is the most beautiful mind that can possibly exist in this universe. Slowly transform this beautiful mind of bodhicitta into a spotless Montesquieu heart. It's amazing that you made such a courageous commitment to become Buddha, but how can you become Buddha? Okay, so that is by remove the mental defilements. The Buddhahood, the Buddha nature is within each one of us. How to remove the defilements? Defilements, somehow they're rooted to the Gautamic karmas, gross afflictions, and the self-grasping ignorance, and along with the subtle stains referred to as the cognitive obscurations, and firstly referring to the afflictive obscuration. All of them somehow rooted to the self-grasping ignorance or the subtle stains, so they can be eradicated by the wisdom of emptiness. What is the wisdom of emptiness? Okay, let us quickly meditate on the wisdom of emptiness in the form of the short guide and the guided meditation. Okay, on the basis of the 5 points. Point number 1, what are you doing? I'm here in the National Museum in front of the very holy Buddha relics, along with all my Dhamma friends and all demon sentient beings. Okay, how does this person appear to you? Object real or like a dream coming from your mind? Of course, object real. This is the self-grasping ignorance. This is ignorance. This is the cause of all the suffering. And the subtle stains of this obstructs us from becoming omniscient. Okay, how to get rid of this ignorance? By cultivating the wisdom. What is that wisdom? Okay, for that matter, if this person were to exist objectively, the way Nagarjuna said, if the mirage were to be water, why not those close by the mirage see water? Likewise, if this person were to exist objectively, why don't I see this person as I go close to this object? Okay, now let us go closer to this object. What you see is that on earth, the thin skin, behind that the fatty tissues, the cartilages, the muscles, the flesh, and the bones, whole skeleton, heart, lungs, liver, gallbladder, kidney, colon, small intestine, spleen, pancreas. None of these solid parts is me. These solid parts constitute the element of earth. Keep the element of earth away. Element of water, the blood which is pumped out by the heart to different parts. 4 liters of blood within the body. Of course, that is not me. Element of water is also not me. Keep that aside. Element of fire, the body heat, 2,500 joules of energy. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of air, 4.6 liters of air that we breathe in and out through our lungs. Of course, that is not me. Keep that aside. Element of space, 99.999% of our body is made of space. But I'm not space. I'm a solid person. So space is vacuum in nature. Even that is also not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Consciousness, the mind. I'm a male. I'm a female. My mind does not have a gender. Gender is posited on the basis of the body. So this mind is also not me. And also, people cannot see my mind, but they can see me. So, again we see that the mind is not element of consciousness, element of mind is not me. Keep that aside. What is left now? Nothing's left there. What is seeing? I'm just seeing 6 elements. Where is the self? This self is literally empty. Okay, this is empty with respect to the ultimate analysis. Stay in this experience. In this experience, everything dissolves. Everything dissolves. Because of which nothing is left there. Number one, nothing is left there to affect us, to go into mental turbulence, to give rise to fear. This is a state of fearlessness. This is a state of freedom, number one. Number two, there's nothing there which can hamper the flow of my mind. So therefore my mind flows so freely towards every atom of the universe. This is omniscience. Now I'm freed from the self-grasping ignorance. I'm freed from samsara. I'm freed from fears. I'm also freed from the cognitive obscurations. Okay, stay in this experience that besides the 6 elements, the self is empty. Nothing is there to identify as a self with respect to the ultimate analysis. Stay in this experience. Slowly transform this mind, the very courageous, fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness, into a spotlessly clean white vajra, vertically sitting on the moon chest of your heart. With tremendous, incredible compassion towards all eternal sentient beings, the Vajra moon at your heart multiplies infinite number of times. Share one set of the Vajra moon at the heart of mother, at the heart of father, at the heart of each one of sentient beings. And visualize all the Buddhas and Bodhisattvas. They are so compassionate, so loving towards you. The Vajra moon in the form of full flesh in their minds also multiply infinite number of times. Like rain shower, they descend to merge with the one that you visualize at your heart, at the heart of each of your family members, at the heart of each of the sentient beings here in Delhi, in the world, in the entire Milky Way galaxy, in the entire universe. Human beings, animals, insects, spirits, gods and goddesses, hungry ghosts, hell beings, everyone is amazing. Okay, with this in mind, let us say the stanza of bodhichitta 3 times together. I go for refuge to the triple gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. I go for refuge to the Triple Gem. I confess the negativities individually. I rejoice in the virtues of all the beings. I hold the precious Buddha in my heart. See to the incredible, the benefit all demonstration beings they reap out of this. Feel the joy of having received this. Okay, let us turn to page. Let us turn to page 47. Let us pray that this bodhichitta, the non-dual bodhicittas, we are never separate from these two throughout our future lifetimes. Let us say this 3 times together wholeheartedly. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Throughout my future lifetimes, may I always be guided by the compassionate Buddha and be able to uphold the true precious bodhicittas even at the cost of my life. Okay, now we will read the In Praise of Dependent Origination, page 99. Page 99. As we recite this, see how much you can reflect on the meanings to the best you can. And if you think that the meanings are not reflected, don't worry. Try your best, and in the end, something is registered. Don't worry. Let us not be too ambitious. Meanwhile, not be too lax. Reflect with the meanings to the best you can. Okay. In Praise of Dependent Origination by Lama Tsongkhapa. He who speaks on the basis of seeing, this make him a knower and teacher like self. I bow to you, O Conqueror, you who saw dependent origination and taught it. Whatever degenerations there are in the world, the root of all these is ignorance. You taught that it is dependent origination, the seeing of which will undo this ignorance. So how can an intelligent person not comprehend that this path of dependent origination is the essential point of your teaching? This being so, who will find, O Savior, a more wonderful way to praise you than to praise you for having taught this origination through dependence? Whatever dependent conditions that is devoid of intrinsic existence, what excellent instruction can there be more amazing than this proclamation? By grasping at it, the child is strengthened bondage to extreme views. For the wise, this very fact is the doorway to cut free from the net of elaborations. Since his teaching is not seen elsewhere, you alone are the teacher. Like calling a fox a lion for a kritika, it would be like word flattery. Wondrous teacher, wondrous refuge, wondrous speaker, wondrous savior, I pay homage to that teacher who taught well dependent origination. To help heal sentient beings, benefactor, we have taught the peerless reason to ascertain emptiness, the heart of the teaching. This way of dependent origination, those who perceive it as contradictory or as unestablished, how can they comprehend your system? For you, when one sees emptiness in terms of meaning of dependent origination, then being devoid of intrinsic existence and possessing varied function do not contradict. Whereas when one sees the opposite, since there can be no function in emptiness, no emptiness, one falls into a dreadful abyss you maintain. Therefore, in seeing dependent origination is hailed, that too as an intrinsic existence. The non-contingent is like a sky flower. Hence there is nothing that is not dependent. If things exist through their essence, their dependence on causes and conditions for their existence is a contradiction. Therefore, since no phenomena exists other than origination through dependence, no phenomena exists other than being devoid of intrinsic existence. Because intrinsic existence cannot be negated. If phenomena possess some intrinsic nature, nirvana impossible. In elaboration could be ceased. We taught, therefore, who could challenge you, you who proclaim that lions roar in the assembly of learned ones repeatedly, that everything is utterly free of intrinsic nature, that there is no intrinsic existence at all, and that all function as this arising in dependence on that. What need is there to say that these two converge without conflict? It is through the reason of dependent origination that one's lean towards an extreme, that you have declared this excellently is the reason, savior of you being an unexcelled speaker. All of this is devoid of the essence, and from this arises that effect. These two certainties complement each other with no contradiction at all. What is more amazing than this? What is more marvelous than this? If one praises you in this manner, this is real praise, otherwise not. Being enslaved by ignorance, those who oppose you, what is so astonishing about their being, unable to bear the sound of no intrinsic existence. But having accepted dependent origination, the precious treasure of your speech, that not tolerating the roar of emptiness, this I find amazing indeed. The door that leads to no intrinsic existence, this unexcelled door of dependent origination, through his name alone, if one grant with intrinsic existence, now this person, who lacks the unraveled entrance, well traveled by the noble ones, by what means should one give to the intrinsic nature, uncreated and non-contingent, dependent origination, contingent and created? How can these two converge upon a single basis without contradiction? Therefore, whatever originates dependently, those primarily free of intrinsic existence, appears as if it does. So you taught all this to be illusion-like. Through this very fact, I understand well the statement that in what you have taught, those opponents who challenge you cannot find faults that accord with reason. Why is this so? Because declaring these turns for rectification and denigration towards things seen and unseen are made most remote. Through this very path of dependent origination, the rationale for your speech being fearless, conviction arises in me also that your other words are valid too. You who speak excellently by seeing as it is, for those who all these generations will become remote, for the root of all faults will be undone. But those who turn away from your teaching, though they may struggle with hardship for a long time, faults increase evermore as if being called for they may affirm the view of self. Aha, when the wise comprehend the differences between these two, why would they not at that point revere you from the depths of your being, let alone your numerous teachings, even in the meaning of a small part, those who find ascertainment in the cursory form? This brings supreme bliss. Alas, my mind was of ignorance, though I sought in such an embodiment of excellence, I possess not a fraction of this quality. Nonetheless, before the stream of this life flowing towards death has come to cease, that I found slightly faith in you, even this I think is fortunate. Among teachers, the teacher of dependent origination, amongst wisdom, the knowledge of dependent origination, you who are excellent like kings in the world, know this perfectly well, not others. All that you have taught proceeds by way of dependent origination. That too is done for the sake of nirvana. You have no need to please. How amazing your teaching is such that it exudes eyes and forth. So who would not be honored to uphold your teachings? It overcomes all opposing challenges. It is free from contradiction between earlier and latter paths. It grants fulfillment of being's two aims. For this system my joy increases evermore. For its sake you have given away again and again over countless eons, sometimes your body and others your life, as well as your loving care and resource of wealth. Seeing the qualities of this teaching pulls hard from my, just like that of a hook does to a fish. Sad it is not to have heard it from you. The intensity of that sorrow does not let go of my mind, just like the mind of a mother constantly goes after her dear child. I think blazing with the glory of noble Mars and hallowed with a net of light. His teacher, in a voice of pristine melody, spoke thus in a way. In such a reflection, the sage's form appears in my mind, it soothes me, just as the moonbeams heal a fever's pain. This excellent system, most marvelous, some individuals who are not so learned have entangled it in utter confusion, just like the entangled Balbazic dress. Seeing this situation, I strove with a multitude of efforts to follow after the learned ones and sought intention again and again. At such times, I studied the numerous works of both our own middle way and other schools. My mind became tormented evermore, constantly by a network of doubts. The night lately grew from Nagarjuna's treatises. Nagarjuna, whom you prophesied, would unravel the unexcelled vehicle as it is, shining streams of existence and non-existence. Illuminated by the golden white lights of Chandra's well-uttered insights, Chandra, whose stainless wisdom orb is called, who glides freely across scripture's space, who dispels the darkness of extremist hearts and outshines the constellations of false speakers. When through my teacher's kindness I saw this, my mind found a rest at last. Of all your deeds, your space is supreme. Within that too, it is the very space. So the wise should remember the Buddha through this teaching of dependent origination. When such a teacher, and having become a renunciant, having said the conquest was not so poorly, this monk will strive in the yogic practices, such is the path of his reverence to the great seer. Since it is due to my teacher's kindness, and that with the teaching of the unexcelled teacher, I dedicate this virtue towards for all beings to be sustained by the sublime spiritual mentors. May the teaching of this beneficent one till world's end, while unshaken by the winds of the evil thoughts, may it prove with conviction in the teacher of transcend the teaching's true nature. May I never falter, even for an instant, to uphold the excellent way of that sage, which illuminates the principle of dependent origination through all my minds, giving away my body and life. May I spend day and night carefully reflecting by what means can I enhance his teaching, achieved by the Supreme Savior, through serenest efforts of the countless eons. May Brahma, Indra, and the world's guardians and protectors such as Mahakela answer him as his name. Okay, quick direction prayer. Page 49. Page 49. Let us pray that the merits that we have accumulated here in front of the Buddha Shakyamuni's relics, let us pray that His Holiness the Dalai Lama, the true source of joy and happiness on this earth, that is Islam, that his wishes be fulfilled spontaneously. And let us also dedicate the merits thus gathered, that all the great seeds of learning of the great teachings of the Buddha, like the Ganden, Sera, Depung, and all the monastic institutions, academic institutions, such as from the Sakya, Kaikyu, Nyingma, Gelug, Chinese tradition, Theravada tradition, may they flourish in the activities of teaching, study, reflection, meditation, and eventually they experience this Buddha nature become manifest to benefit all demon sentient beings. And may us dedicate merits that thus gathered, that each one of you, through a concerted effort, may you soon see the dawn of the two bodhicittas, the wisdom of emptiness and the bodhicitta, unconditional love, the wish to become Buddha for the benefit of human sentient beings. May you soon see the dawn of these two happening within you, and that each one of you becomes such a reliable guide to lead all human sentient beings towards infinite happiness. May the teaching of the bodhicitta, the most beautiful mind of the bodhicitta, may the teaching of the most fearless mind of the wisdom of emptiness flourish in the minds of human sentient beings of the present and the future, in all beings, in all directions. With that in mind, let us dedicate the merits from page 49. I dedicate the merits thus gathered towards the realization of the deeds and the prayers of the Buddhas and the Bodhisattvas of the three times, and to the upholding of the doctrine of the scripture and insight. and all life through the force of this marriage, never separate from the four wheels of the Mahana vehicle, had accomplished all the stations of the path, renunciation, bodhichitta, perfect view in the two stations. From our two collections, mass and space that have amassed from working with effort at this practice for a great number of time, may I become the chief leading Buddha for all those whose minds be smiles blind by. Okay, let us recite the bodhichitta mantra 7 times. Om Muni Muni Maha Muni Swaha. 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 Om Mani Padme Hum. 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 Om Arapazanati. 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 Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri Hum. Om Maitri. Om Maitri Hum. Om Dare Tu Dare Dure Swaha. 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 Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Vajrapani Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi. Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Om Benza Guru Bema Siddhi Hum. Myo myo seve tere je je re se je me kembe on bo jambe yam kanje kebe so ge so Seve cerese Cemekebe Ombocabeyan Kancekebe Sugezakaba Losatabe Shabla Solade. Okay, we'll make 3 prostrations together, visualizing all sentient beings joining you, and you are leading this.